Hey, it's me, Carol with Refunction Crafts again, and I'm going to do a pretty cool video today. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be Mod Podging some images onto this little jar here. We're going to be painting it and doing some Mod Podge work, and then we're going to embellish it similar to how this one here is done. This is one of my recent projects that I did, and it is a sugar jar from the Dollar Tree here, and a candle pillar that I got at the Dollar Tree as well, and then some embellishments and things that I've gotten from different places and people. And so with the exception of this butterfly and that the embellishments will be slightly different on the top, this is what we're going to be doing in today's video. Little different embellishments, but the same premise. So this is the jar that we will be working on altering today. I've got the jar and I've got the candle pillar here. We're going to keep the candle pillar on this one clear. So I've already spray painted this jar white with my Rust-Oleum 2x paint or primer and paint. You can get it at Home Depot, and if you ask for just that product, it's Rust-Oleum 2x primer and paint, and it's a white can with blue writing on it. Let me go grab my can so you can see what it looks like real quick. Have it right here. So this is the can of the primer and paint that I buy at Home Depot. It works amazing. It covers this entire thing in one coat. I only have to spray it one time and wait for it to dry. So this works really well. Again, it's Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2x Ultra Cover Paint plus Primer. So if you ask for that or go to their paint section, you'll be able to find it. They keep all of their spray paints like that locked up. Too many people, I guess, sniffing the fumes these days. But anyway, that's what you're going to use. And then I am going to paint part of this piece in this very, very pale pink. You can see that's how it looks next to the white. So I'm going to be using this pale pink. I made this just using some white paint with a dot of red mixed into it. So I wanted the very palest of pink to do this. So I made it myself. If you want something done right, you do it yourself, right? Anyway, so we're just going to take, and I'm going to paint this from this part right here down to this line right here. I'm going to leave this little bottom section white. On my other one, I didn't leave that white, but on this one, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move you in slightly closer so you can actually see what I'm doing as I'm painting this. And we're going to just go ahead and get started here. So I'm just going to get a good amount of paint on my brush and paint around. And I found, oddly enough, I thought painting up and down was going to be better on these. What I've been doing is I've been going up and down, just making sure I'm getting coverage on the white part. But once I'm done with the up and down strokes and I get the paint everywhere I want it, I do this direction because the paint is actually coming out smoother in that direction, and I thought it would be smoother if I did it this way, but I was wrong. So anyway, but I can get the coverage better if I do this way. So I'm just going up to the lip of the top of the jar. I don't want to paint the part where the grooves are to screw the lid on. So make sure you're being careful not to paint that section if you want to do this in the two colors. Now, if you want this whole thing pink, you still don't want to paint that, but you can paint all the way down to the bottom of the jar. You just don't want to paint the top portion. And again, I'm painting right up to the bottom of that lip, right there. And this pink, like I said, it's super duper pale. I wanted it to be that way for a reason, because you know when you see most shabby chic projects, the pink is so pale that it almost looks like just a pinkish white. And that's what I'm going for here. But you can see it, as you could probably tell by the other one that I did, that the paint definitely looks pink on this portion of the jar. I don't even know if on camera you can see the variation in the paint colors. You don't have to worry too much about getting it absolutely perfect at the top there, only because I am going to be putting something around that section right there that's going to define the line between this pink section and the top of the jar, the lid of the jar. So it's not going to be a big deal if you aren't perfect. I'm trying to get it as close as I can. That's just kind of how I am, but you know what? I make mistakes sometimes, and I realize that on some projects, those little mistakes really don't matter in the end, because nobody's going to see that little imperfection underneath your embellishments. So don't worry. Okay, so now I'm just kind of going across it here this way to make sure that I don't have a whole bunch of brush strokes in the paint. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll use a sponge paintbrush, and I just I dab the paint on instead of painting it like this. But in this case, I didn't want that texture, so I decided to paint it with the brush. And I'm just kind of going around right now and making sure that I don't have a whole bunch of lines and imperfections in the paint, or no little clumps that got in there. Okay, I'm gonna real quick rinse my brush. Okay, so we've got the pink paint on there, and the next thing we're going to do is put the paint away, and we're going to glue this section onto this section. And in order to do that, I'm going to tip my jar upside down. And I'm going to take my E6000 here, and I'm just going to kind of run that along the rim of the candlestick, and just making sure that you get enough E6000 on this that it's going to get a good bond. This is one of those areas where you don't want to go too little, because I'm telling you right now, if you do, because I know this from experience, it happened to me just this morning actually. I thought, oh, I'll just put less of this so that it doesn't ooze or anything. Well, it ended up, it didn't stick. So because there wasn't enough E6000. So I've got a decent amount at the top of this, and I'm just gonna take it and flip it upside down, and I'm gonna center it at the bottom of the sugar jar. And I'm just kind of turning it back and forth a little bit just to kind of work it in. And then I'm just going to kind of spin this around and make sure that I've got it on there centered, because that's the other thing that you want to make sure that you do. And I'm going to try and find, okay, I think that's going to be the front of my jar. And I don't want, the other thing that I've learned to watch for with these is both this piece and this piece have little seams on the sides. I'm trying to make sure I don't have the seams on either piece to the front of the jar. So this one, I know where those little seams are. They're right there. And this one, my seams are in the same place. They're right there. So I've got them both with nice clean lines across the entire front. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish by turning it and making sure that those seams are in the same place. So what I'm going to do with this has to dry now. Obviously, the E6000, you want to give it plenty of dry time before you start working with it. So we're going to need to put this aside and give it, honestly, if you can wait overnight, that's your best bet. But through the magic of YouTube, ta-da, I have one already painted and ready to go. So this one's been ready. It's been drying all day today, so it's ready to go. I did it this morning, and these are kind of my guts. I've got some more stuff at the bottom here that I need to dig out. Hang on just a second, you guys. Okay, so these are the little tiny prints that I had intended on using on this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stick with my original plan. I'm going to Mod Podge these little roses onto this jar, because really that big print, I was thinking about using this one, but I think it's just too big for this jar, and these actually look really pretty on these jars. So I'm just going to go with my original plan. I'm going to get out my Mod Podge, and you can get this same Mod Podge over at the Dollar Tree. You get a small jar of it for $1.25, I believe. Nothing's $1 anymore. It's $1.25 now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see where the front of my piece is, and I want this side over here to be the front. So I've got it turned around, and actually what I'll do is I will lay this down. Let me find those seams again. There's one and there's one. Okay, so this is going to be the front of my jar. So I'm just going to take, I've already rinsed my brush out from using it in the paint. And we don't need a lot of Mod Podge here because we're just putting these little flowers on. But what I am going to do, let me get a piece of cellophane. Okay, I've got that set aside. All right, so I've got my Mod Podge. I'm just gonna find my center point here and kind of where I want the flower print to go. And these prints just came off of a napkin that has these small roses. This is all I have left. I actually thought I was out of these until I went through all of my napkins and things and found this in my box. So that was super exciting for me, knowing that I was going to do this other jar. and that I had the small ones that I could use to do it with. So I'm just going to lay that right there, and carefully from the middle to the edges, I'm going to just paint that on there. And we're not going to mess around with this too much. I'm going to take my little piece of cellophane. In fact, I'm going to cut a piece off. And I'm going to lay it over the top of that. And I'm just going to work it in so that I get that image nice and smooth. Pull out all the wrinkles, because this is the kind of project that you want to try and get your napkin to be on there really, really smoothly. So I'm just, with this cellophane, you see I can rub this and I'm not tearing the napkin while I do it. So that's the purpose for the cellophane. I didn't even know about this trick until recently, and then even when I found out about it, I was afraid to try it because I thought, oh, that can't work. I'm going to lay the cellophane down, it's going to stick to my image, and then it's going to rip it off. Okay, so that's all you need to do. I'm just going to take it and gently peel it back, and you can see that image stay right on there, no problem. And let me see, how many of these did I put on this one? I did 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put 3 of these. I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4, so I got 4 of these here. So I'm going to put one of those aside. And then I'm just going to try and figure out where my sort of other positions would be. And I think right about there is going to be where I want the next one to go. So we're just going to keep on going with these until we get all 3 of these images on there and looking good. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the flowers sort of at the same level. And we're going to paint it on from the inside out. And I'm just going to use that same piece of cellophane. It's not going to hurt it. And I'm going to rub that in. Smooth it out all the way to the edges. Take any wrinkles out of it that we can, or that we can see. And I'm rubbing this fairly decently with my finger to get any creases out. And there's no tears happening, none of that. And then I'm also trying to make sure that I smooth out the edges of the napkin. And I'm going to peel it back. I got one little bit right there that, and I think I went too close there, so it looks like we are going to put 4 of these on here. We definitely are, because I got too close. I didn't put it in the spot that I intended to put it in. So if I put 1 here and darn it. I'm dripping. Okay, let me see here. How close are these two? These two are not all that close. Actually, I don't think I did go too close. I think that maybe it just felt like I was closer than I was. Yeah, we're going to be fine. I'm going to do the 3. I just felt like I was too close on that side. I thought I had kind of figured it out right. And we're gonna put that right there. Yeah, we're perfect. Okay, good. Whew. I thought I made a big mistake. And right about there. Okay. I'm going to close my Mod Podge and get my cellophane. And I'm just going to lay it over the top here. This one I can see I got a few more creases in than my other two, but that's okay because they'll come right out with this process. And again, just rub fairly hard so that you can make sure you're getting them out. And it almost feels kind of squishy behind the cellophane because of the glue or the Mod Podge. It's glue, that's basically what it is. So it just feels like it might tear, but it's not going to tear because it won't go anywhere with that cellophane over the top. And very gently peel this back. And see, this one's sticking a little bit more than the other times. Okay, probably because I put it on there and still had too much glue, too much Mod Podge on it. But I'm just taking these little edges that I have here and pressing them down. Barely touching them with my finger. Right here, I have a little, like a clump, and I don't want that. And this is part of the reason why when I tear my napkins, I tear them unevenly all the way around the image, so that if there's pieces that I need to pull away like that, I can do it and it's not going to affect the outcome. Okay, so now what you got to do is you do have to let this dry. So I'm going to be letting this dry, and then once it is, I will be coming back to get started on the embellishment process. So that's what we've got so far. And we're going to let that sit and have its dry time. And then we'll go from there. So I will be back. Have a look at that. Oh, let me back it off a minute so that you guys can see real quick what we've got so far. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So this is what we have now. And we've got 3 sets of flowers. So I'll be back. All right, so we've got this painted, and I know my tabletop looks a little bit different, but I added a few things to the front of the table here to show you some of the items that I am going to be working with that I kind of added to my mix. Since I got my package from Kiki's sale yesterday, I'm probably going to be adding maybe some of this. Well, I know this came out of my Kiki sale items. I'm going to definitely be using that beauty on this jar today. And then these are some sticker blings that I got at my little local shop here. that I may be using one of those in this. It all depends. But if I do, it'll probably be between these and these. And these are my little white rose and rhinestone trims that I bought. And these are also stickers. And I really wanted to use these because I did put some of these available in my Etsy shop. For anybody who's interested, I only have a couple of sets left of these. So I may need to go get some more because they're already going. In fact, what's in my shop right now is in people's carts, I believe. And so they haven't purchased yet. So whoever purchases first gets them, obviously. So even if you go into my Etsy shop and you see that it's in, you know, there's only one left and it's in two people's carts, they haven't hit the buy button yet. And so if you choose to buy it right then and there, then Etsy will put it in your cart and will remove it from my shop. So that's kind of how that works. And the only reason I tell you guys is not to put somebody else out of the product, but there's a lot of times, if you're anything like me, and a lot of people do this, they run around and they put a whole bunch of items in their cart from different shops that they are interested in, but it'll sit in their cart for a month and they don't make that purchase. So that's why it works that way, so that if somebody is just holding it in their cart and not ever really going to purchase, that somebody else still has the opportunity to get it until that complete the order stuff is completed. So that's how that works. In case anybody was wondering, I'm gonna just pull this in just a little tad more. Okay, so this is actually the next day for me. I did let this dry overnight because I was very tired last night when I started doing this. And I just didn't have the energy to keep going. I had already done a couple of videos yesterday. So anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on this, get it done so that this video is not astronomically long. It's already gonna be a fairly long one because it takes a little bit to embellish these. So the other thing that I have is I have this little box of, these are little, I don't call them chipboard, they're cardboard, of words, and I've got a whole bunch of them in here. And somebody sent these to me in a Happy Mail package, and I've been looking and looking and looking because some of the words that were in here I really, really loved, but I've used them, a good majority of them. So but I can't find these anywhere. We've got joy, remember, truth, let's see, appreciation. The one that I'm going to use today in this one is Simple Pleasures. I thought that was pretty, and it kind of had that soft pinkish background, so that's the one I'm going to use. But anyway, if any of you all know, it's a thick cardboard, so it's not chipboard. It's a thicker cardboard. But I have looked and looked and looked on Amazon. I can't find them. I don't know where they came from. And I got these, this is not the box they came in. This is a box that my friend Lorraine sent me some jewelry in, and it's really awesome because it's got the magnetic closure. And so I've been keeping these because it's got the window on the top. I'm going to be altering this box too. And I'm keeping that one for myself for some of my supplies, but I do want to alter it because it's super cool. But I just have to get around to that one. Meanwhile, it holds all my little cards and inspirational words in it. So these are just some of the things that I've put out that I'm going to use. We're going to go ahead and get started now so that we can get this thing done. All right, so the other thing that I do have is I've got a bunch of my flowers that I got from Kiki's sale yesterday. So I'm going to be putting some of these in there. Some of these were already here and they're not going in. I just want to get them out of my way. But these are some of the flowers that I'll be using in this project today. So, all right, so let's get started on this. How many times have I said that? There's a test at the end of the video. Okay, so this is the side that's going to be the front of my jar. And so that's where I'm going to kind of be working from. What I'm going to try and do, because I want you guys to see what I'm doing here, and it's kind of hard because this is a bigger piece that I'm working on. So I also took out this lace just so that you guys can see. I think I might use a couple pieces of those leaves in this one. I don't know, because they may be too big to really add to this, but I'm going to see if I can fit at least one or two of those into the project. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take some of this trim here and I'm going to go around the top and I'm going to go around this little bottom, I think the very bottom edge here. And no, I'm going to go right down here. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be putting some of this towards the top and the bottom of the pink section of the jar. I want to keep them in the pink. So I'm going to use my glue gun to do this. And I think I'm going to start, because I want the end of it to go towards the back. So I'm just going to start sort of, let me unwrap my glue gun. It's wrapped around another wire here. Okay, so I'm going to start sort of in the center of this, what do you call this stuff? I can't even remember what it's called. I don't know that it's a binding of any sorts or a, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so we're just going to go around the whole jar with this at the bottom and the top. I'm going to try and get somewhat larger sections done at one time. And I think you guys can see what I'm doing here pretty well. Just put your glue down and then lay that right over the top there. And it's easy because you can follow the lines of the jar on this one. So it makes it a lot easier to put this on and get it straight because you kind of have some lines to follow. One little string of glue there that's not cooperating with me. It's my pet peeve. I don't like working with those strings sitting there. Okay, this is funny. This is too long, and I think that I had planned on using this on a different piece initially, and then I ended up putting it in with this jar. I think that's what happened. Kind of a bummer because I cut it long and I probably would have had an extra piece that I could use, and so I can still use it. And one more little dot there to put that down. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start on the top piece. Oops, I guess that got settled in a little too fast there. I'm just going to heat that glue up again. Try that again. That's the thing when you're working on glass or things that get cold, you have to work fast because that hot glue starts to cure really, really fast on anything cold. So you do have to work fast with that. Otherwise it'll dry on you and it won't stick. You might get a little ooze, but you can just pull that right off of there. This is becoming one of my favorite things to do here. I really enjoy making these jars, and what I want to do is I need to go to the thrift store and find some different jars, like little apothecary jars that I can make as well. And I know I have some around here. Well, in fact, I almost know exactly where they are, but they're in a cabinet in my spare room. And my spare room right now is packed full of things that we need to put into a yard sale. And so I've piled a bunch of it in front of that said cabinet, and I can't get to it right now. Well, I can, but I have to go through a lot of other things to get to it, so I haven't been willing to make that trek yet. But I do have some, I know, and I've got some really big ones. Those, unfortunately, because of their size, I won't be able to do a video on, because you probably wouldn't be able to see very well what I was doing. And so I don't think that would be a very good video, but I still would like to make them, because we still plan on doing a craft sale here at some point. We still haven't done that, and so that's what that looks like on there. Isn't that pretty? I love this stuff. I'm gonna shut that light off, and I'm gonna move my other light really quick so that it's shining on the right stuff here. Whoopsies. Oh, I'm gonna have to stand up. There. Okay, that should do. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And I honestly think what I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to back my camera off just a touch, because I do want you guys to see what I'm doing here. So, okay. So once again, that's what we have so far. And next we're going to start, I think what we're going to do, this is the lid to the jar, and I think I'm going to start working on embellishing that, but I need to make sure that I know exactly what part of this lid is going to go to the front of the jar. Let me find my front facing piece. All right, this is the front here. So I'm gonna just real quick mark this on the top where the front is, just like that. I just put a little tiny dot, because I'm gonna cover that up with embellishments. So I just put a little tiny dot. And oh, well, I've got it here. Look at my pen, you guys. I got these, I got a few of these from the Dollar Tree. I'm gonna hold it up here. I got a few of these from the Dollar Tree, and they're really pretty. This is what they look like when you buy them. Just a plain pen with the little acrylic bling bling at the top. This is a pink one, and this is a pink one that I did here. And what I did was I just painted the base of it white, with my spray paint. And then I Mod Podged the roses onto it and just put a little bit of bling around the middle section. And then I covered it in resin. And so that's what I ended up with. And it's super pretty. And I'm going to tell you guys, these pens, I have a purple one too that I'm going to be doing. But these pens write so nicely. Oh my gosh, I love the way this pen writes. Because it's super smooth. I'm just going to get a pad of paper here real quick so I can show you how nice it flows. So anyway, it's super smooth and it just writes like a charm. Let me do that over. Okay, so I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to turn myself. So it writes really nicely. It's got a fine point to it, and I love them. So I'm going to be altering these as well. I think I have another purple one too. I don't remember if I bought 2 purples or not. But anyway, I'm definitely keeping this one for myself that I've already done, I think. And I'm going to alter these too. I will be putting those in my shop. I don't think I'm going to do a video on that unless a million people say I should. Because of the resin part of it. I know a lot of you are not into resin. And so I don't want to do a video on something that is, you know, you can't be really done without it. Because you've got to protect the part that you Mod Podge on those pens. Otherwise, if they get wet or whatever, then it's just going to get all melty and icky and all that good stuff. So, okay, back to the jar. So, this is my front right here. And we're going to go ahead and I want to see if, I'm thinking about putting a piece of this somewhere, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm thinking maybe down here where the glass part is. Now that's the thing. I was actually planning on using this down at the bottom, but I think I've changed my mind and I think I may use this up in the upper section of the jar. So, but I've got to use this in today's video. That was one of my main goals, was to use that in this video. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece first, and this way you guys can see if you like this bling. If you do, make a comment down below and I will make sure that I get some more of this and put it in my shop so that you guys will have it available to you. And I'm trying to do this so that I don't stick these on top of each other. And I'm just gonna, real quick, you guys, I'm gonna try and set this up. I'm gonna try and turn myself so that you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I wanna make sure that the folding portion, or the big bling portion, goes in the center of one of these spaces here that has sorry, my camera popped off for a second there. Okay, so making sure that it's gonna lay in the right spots, and you see how that just kind of wraps around. And then I am going to put some E6000 under this, but I wanted to position it first, and I think honestly this little bottom one I think I'm gonna nip off because it feels like it doesn't lay in the right spot. So I'm going to nip that little guy off. And so that's what that's going to look like. Super pretty. And I think that's going to be a nice addition to this jar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my E6000 here, and I'm going to have to, I think I have another thing of E6000 somewhere, so I'm going to be opening that one up soon. I went through this one so fast. And I just want a little tiny bit on my plate here. And I'm going to take my jacket off because it's really warm in here. You can tell summer's coming because the warmer weather is upon us now. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Right now, I'm doing this in my pajamas. You would not want to see me right now. But that's okay. Sometimes it's fun to craft in your pajamas. So now I got to try, and the thing with these stickers and using E6000 on them is, of course, they stick really well when you initially stick them down, but then you put the E6000 in, because it's wet, it kind of has that opposite effect on it, and it wants to slide around until it starts to set a little bit. But thankfully with this adhesive, it does start to get sticky fairly quickly, so it shouldn't be a real big deal. We should be able to get this down and stuck pretty well. I'm trying to get it right on all of these little end pieces as well. The little dots that are at the end that have the swirlies, because we definitely want those to stick down. Okay, so I think I got it pretty much on everything. And I'm just gonna let everything lay where it needs to go. Just like that. And I'm sorry I had to do that where I was kind of looking at it, you guys. And I'm just gonna press it for a minute here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I turned the TV up for a minute because I wanted to hear something and I forgot to turn it down again. Don't want to get any YouTube strikes or anything, so I want to make sure I'm doing things the way I'm supposed to. Got a tiny bit of glue that kind of oozed out there. So that's what we have there. And it looks really, really pretty in my opinion. And like I said, I have a tiny bit of ooze out here, but that I can easily get off later after this dries. And it will be just fine. So you can see kind of how it goes around on there. All right, so next what we're gonna do, and these are kind of lifting up a little bit, but as they start to get stickier, I'm gonna just keep paying attention and pressing them down, and eventually, because of the stickiness, they will stay down. It's just like when I put rhinestones around a tin or something like that. They kind of are a little bit slippery at first too, but I'm able to give them a few minutes and it gets dry enough that I can continue to work on my projects. So I just need a little dot under that. And it's already getting sticky enough that they're not lifting so bad now. I'm just pressing, pressing, pressing. these are the kind of things that kind of tend to add a few minutes to your videos when you're doing them. There's not a lot you can do about it. You just have to go with it. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this and we're going to go use it around the top portion. And again, this is what I'm going to be using now. And this is what I wanted to show you guys because this stuff is really, really pretty. And like I said, I've already almost sold all that I have in my shop. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 left. I'm not sure. And then if I need to, I'm going to try to go down and pick up some more. So I'm sure that right now I can still get more of this. I'm pretty sure of that. So I'm not too worried. All right, we're going to put that one aside because we're not going to use it. And what are we going to do here? Okay. What I want to do is I want to take some of this and just kind of go around. I think I'm going to go around the top section with this. And I'm going to sort of start, and I'm just going to go ahead and start putting, I'm going to put that upside down. And I'm going to start putting some E6000 across the bottom of this because I don't want to mess around by putting it on, taking it off, and all that stuff. If I can get my fingers to unstick from this. There we go. And let me squeeze out a little bit more of my glue. I got a little too much out, but that's okay. Because I'm going to have to probably do about 2 strips of this, I'm thinking. And I'm really trying to make sure I get this on in all the right places on this stuff because I don't want this to come up. So I want to make sure that all of the edge pieces and stuff are covered with the E6000. And the thing is, I do need to try and work fast with this because I don't want to have it start to dry before I can get this on the jar. So that's, you've got a couple of things you're working with here when you're working with something this kind of intricate, because you don't want to get it all over the place, obviously. And it takes a minute to get all these little bits and pieces covered in the E6000. So and I'm sorry, you guys, if my chair squeaks. I've got the squeakiest chair, and I keep saying I'm going to move it and put a different one here, and I keep forgetting before I do my videos. Okay, so I think I'm going to start, I want it to kind of go around my flowers here, so I'm going to start right about there. And just kind of try and work my way around here. So this one's going to be a little bit different than the last one I did because I didn't have any of this bling when I did my last one, and I don't like to do every single one the same anyway when I do my projects. And when it comes to the bling, I don't usually have more than one piece of any specific bling. Sometimes I do if it's something maybe I took off of a pair of earrings, I've got 2 of them or what have you, or if I've got a bracelet that I've used to get parts from, then I may have, you know, extra or what have you. But now this is where it's going to get tricky, because somehow I need to make this match up. And I think, hopefully, I think I'm going to actually be able to do it. Oh my goodness, this one, well, maybe not, because the leaves are going to want to go up into my trim there. But you know what? I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to cut it right here and very quickly put the other piece back on the plastic here. There's that. Try not to get these stuck together. All right, so let's get that adhesive on here and go to town here. That was a little clumpy. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I just don't know from time to time if I'm close enough, if I'm not close enough, if I'm too far. I just don't know with my camera. And it used to be, when I was working in my other area, I could always tell kind of where I was at and how I was doing, but I don't know. Working in this room, I'm working in my kitchen right now because I'm sort of in the process of trying to clean up my craft room. So that process, as you all probably well know, can be a bit dicey. Okay. And actually, I need to cut a little more of this off. I didn't realize. I went a little too far over. And my shaky hands are kind of all over the place. I'm just going to stick that down there. Okay. So let me get this over here. And pull that together. And there we go. And of course I see where I should have I think I need one more little rhinestone. So I'm just going to cut that off of this piece here. There you are. You little Dickens, he tried to get away from me. And I'm going to put that right there so that we have what looks like a finished strand. And now I don't know what happened to the rest of that piece. Okay. All right, so we've got that on there. Let's see, where's our front piece? I think this is my front right here. And you can see that came out really pretty. It looks really, really nice on there. I just wanted to do something a little different on this one so that there was maybe a little more bling around the base of it without covering up the decoupage part. I mean, that's something I didn't want to cover up any of my images here. So, okay, so we've got that on there. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to bling the top. And y'all know that I marked, I don't know why I marked it there. This is my top here, or my front, I should say. So I want to make sure that my embellishments land on that dot there. So that's the front portion that I'm going to be looking at when I'm looking at this jar. So that has been deemed the front. So I'm going to move the jar aside right now, and I'm going to let that start to dry, checking it every now and then and kind of pressing down on it. And we're going to work on this. Okay, so one thing I do know is I'm going to use this rose at the front of the piece, and I'm going to work around that rose. The other thing that I am going to do is I'm going to put, what do I want to use around the edge of this? I think, where is my clear rhinestone chain? Oh, it's right here in front of me. That happens all the time. Okay, so I'm going to use some of my clear rhinestone chain to put around this lid. And the reason I'm using mine is because I want the 4mm, because I want it to show up really well. So, and in this case, y'all know I usually, when I put my rhinestone chain on, I have it facing up. But in this case, it's going to be facing out to the side because that's kind of where I want it to show up. So, using our E6000, we're gonna take our toothpick and just put this around the edge, and I'm gonna put it right inside the groove there. That way I've got a real clear line to follow, and I know these rhinestones are gonna be sitting perfectly straight on this piece. So again, this is a project where some of your lines are already set for you, whether it be where we painted. I guess that's not going to go all the way around quite right. Oh, bummer. Never mind. I lied. I was thinking that groove went all the way around in the same spot, but it doesn't. So I just need to follow along at the same point of contact here and make sure I get plenty of E6000 all the way around. God, it feels like this stuff is drying up really fast. It must be because the weather is warmer, and so I think maybe it dries a little bit faster. But man, it feels like it's just setting up so quickly. And it tends to start getting a little bit clumpy. I know Happy Bird, Lori over at Happy Bird's Glitter Nest uses, she started using more of the Fabri-Tac on her projects. I've noticed that. She used to use E6000 when I started watching her, but I have noticed lately she's been using Fabri-Tac more. And it seems to do the same thing. I'm just not certain as to whether over the long haul, it will stay on like the E6000 does. So that's my fear with changing to another product, is I don't know how well it's really going to work. So I need to ask her about that and see what she says about the long-term stickiness of the Fabri-Tac. I mean, she uses it in everything now, and it seems to stick pretty well, pretty quickly. I've been paying close attention to that. So if it does, I mean, again, that's you just kind of squeeze it out of the bottle and right onto your project. So that might be nice. And I'm starting to think, now that I'm looking at this, that I might actually take and put another row of rhinestones on this at the top of these facing up. So I'll have some facing out and some facing up. And I think that might be really pretty. Right now I'm just trying to get these things on here straight. Not as easy as you think because of those grooves. So those grooves that I thought were going to be so great are turning out to not be the greatest thing ever. But that's okay. We can work around that. All right. So I am going to take, I'm going to squeeze a little more E6000. I'm going to take another row, and I'm going to try and do this very quickly with this one. Another row over the top of these facing up. So we're just going to go right along the top here. Very quickly go around. I'm just kind of laying my toothpick on there and dragging it. Just like that. So I'm still watching my big dog very closely. She's, I don't know, her condition isn't really changing. It's not, I don't think, getting any worse, but it's not getting any better. And, you know, we've been kind of monitoring her. At one point we thought maybe she had gotten stung by a bee or something. But I'm going to say I don't think that's what it is. I honestly think it's just mostly old age, and she is 11, which is not that old, but she's a big dog, and she's a golden retriever. And if you know anything about golden retrievers, they have a tendency towards having getting tumors kind of all over the place, and she's had tumors pretty much her whole life, and now those tumors are increasing in numbers. And so I just have a feeling that that's what's kind of taken her down. I not only I think are they kind of on the outside, but I think they're on the inside. And I think they're just kind of taking over for her. And it's really hard to see her not feeling well like this, because she's always been so bright and cheery and happy. And it's just kind of breaking my heart, because my dogs are obviously my children are all grown up and out of the nest. And so my 2 dogs are my babies right now. And it's breaking my heart to see her get sick like this. And my other dog, Chloe, it's Juju that's sick. And my other little dog, Chloe, is 13. And she's doing pretty good. I mean, she's getting old too. But she's doing better than our big dog. And our big dog is kind of a mix of golden retriever, shepherd, oh gosh, what else did they say she had? I can't remember the name of the dog. Shoot. Some like, it's not husky, but it's some other big, like, Siberian something or something like that. Anyway, I don't know, but she's a big girl. And I have to say, through only my fault, she's a little bit overweight. The girl loves to eat. That's her favorite thing in the whole world to do. And her mommy has kind of overfed her a bit, so that's all my fault. I feed my dogs home prepared meals. And while I try to keep them, healthy, chicken, veggies, because they do eat their veggies, things like that, they also end up getting far too many table scraps of things that they really shouldn't have. So again, that's my fault. I have indulged her a little too much. My little dog has self-control. And so she doesn't eat as much of those kinds of things. She knows when to stop. Big dog, Juju, she's going to eat until it's all gone. So it's really hard. And at this point now, I feel like I've already done the damage, and if I take it away from her, that's kind of not fair either. So I've been cutting way, way back on the amount of table scraps and things that she gets. I'm trying to get her during this time to maybe lose a little bit of weight, and maybe she'll start feeling better just based on that alone. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so we've got that one on there. So we've got the top and the side. So I think that looks pretty good. And now we're going to start embellishing with the flowers. And we're just going to start going to town here because this video is getting far too long. So this one's going on first. And then I'm going to take one of these white flowers and put it right next to that one. I'm going to take this pink one and put it behind towards the back, like that. And another of the bigger white ones to this side. And you can see where I'm going with this. And then I've got these 2 small pink mulberry roses. I'm just going to kind of take one there. I'm going to take one of these little white roses, mulberries, and I'm going to put that one in that spot. And then I have another little pink one. I think I'm going to put that sort of up front here. And let's see, we'll take this white one and maybe go more kind of towards the back section here. And then I have a couple of these little darker ones. These are some of the ones that I had that I actually painted the edges of. They were a dark pink. And then I just added some paint to the edges of them. I sprayed them with my spray paint. Or actually, no, these I brushed the white in. I had to think about that for a second. These I actually brushed the additional paint into. So I'm going to put one of those at the top. And again, I'm just kind of looking for a little bit of height there. And I'm going to put one over here to the side at the bottom there. Okay, so there's that. And, oh, that's where that went. I've also got this little blingy perfume bottle, and although it is purple, I was debating on whether maybe that would look cute sitting at the top, and then putting this Simple Pleasures, sort of tucking it into the flowers, if I can find a spot like that, sort of with the perfume bottle like that. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to put a little glue at the bottom of my little Simple Pleasures sign. And we're going to tuck that in behind those flowers. But we want it to stick out where we can see it, obviously. So I don't want it to go down too far. And then this will just kind of stick right there. So I'm going to put a little more hot glue there. And pop that down and stick it just to the kind of the bottom corner of the Simple Pleasures sign. And that looks super cute. Look. Isn't that adorable? Love it. I love when things turn out the way I sort of plan. I had this little butterfly. It's just a little felt butterfly, and it's got I painted the pale pink on the top wings, and then the bottom is white. And I was kind of trying to think of a spot that I maybe could put that in there as well. We're gonna kind of, after we get this sort of together, we're gonna figure that out. So here's my jar. Let's see here. What are we missing? Oh, I know. I wanted to take something and put it in that bottom section, and I think what I'm going to go with is this pink rhinestone chain. I'm going to go along this bottom section right here. And again, for that, I need my E6000. You guys, I'm sorry this video is getting long, and I didn't want to make it this long, but really I wanted it to turn out perfect. Well, perfect as I can get it, as nice as I can get it. So I've been trying to go about it a little bit methodically, so that I get everything in a good place, and so that it's good enough to put in my Etsy shop and sell it. Somebody's got my other one that I made in their cart, but they haven't hit the purchase button yet. They put it in their cart the other day, I guess. But I know, you know, sometimes that's what I do. I go around and I put things in my cart, and then when I have the money available, then I go ahead and buy it. So it could sit in my cart sometimes for a couple of weeks. before I'm able to actually purchase it, or before I'm ready to purchase it, I should say. A little bit more right here. Oh, I got too much. I didn't realize I already had a blob there, and I went right over the top of it. Okay, so get rid of that. Let's see, this is the front, so I'm just gonna start, let me lay this down so you guys can see it. I'm just gonna start going around the whole thing. And again, this is pink 2mm rhinestone chain. You can get this almost always at Kiki's sale. She almost always has it. And you can also purchase it on Amazon. But if you purchase it on Amazon, of course, you're buying a whole lot of it. So if you don't want to have to get, you know, quite so much, you can purchase it. I think Debbie sells it by the yard in her Facebook shop. So that's, again, that's Kiki's sale. I'm just going to hold this up so that I can straighten these rhinestones and press them in really well. I want to make sure they're going around straight all the way around. And thankfully, I had the guide at the bottom of the jar here to follow on this. I'm going to take a toothpick and I'm going to go along here, and anywhere I see a little bit of glue squeeze out, I'm just going to get that off of there while it's easy. And it comes off really easy at this stage of the game, so very gently. This is where I got that big blob. Didn't mean to. There we go. Got it. And these would be really pretty to make as the bottle night lights as well. I'm trying to think if I have a light somewhere around here that I could throw in here when I'm done, and you guys could see what it would look like with a light in it, because that's absolutely another avenue you could take these jars to. You can either use it to put, you know, cotton balls or Q-tips or something like that in, or you could use it as a night light. And I will, before this is over, I will go grab a light real quick and throw it in there so you guys can see what it looks like. I thought I had one right here near me. Oh, I do. This is just a kind of a wine bottle one, but it'll work. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw that aside. And then I'm gonna take, where did my, oh, bling go. Okay, the other thing that I'm gonna do, I'm going to make sure that this gets in there, but I also want to throw something from my bag of goodies here that I got from Kiki's sale in here. Well, you know what? I think I've got enough on the top. I don't want to waste my bits and pieces. I've already got stuff on the top, and I've got, that's super pretty. That might go in there. And I don't want to waste all my bling bling on one project. So, and I've got a really, really great one coming up, you guys. I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a preview. I'm going to be doing another jar, but this one that I'm going to be doing is actually a candy jar. And let me see here. Where's my front? Right there. The other one that I'm going to be doing is a candy jar that I got at a thrift store. I've already painted it. I've got it kind of ready to rock and roll. I was just waiting for my special napkins to come in so that I don't want to squeeze this too hard because those rhinestones are still trying to dry on the top of this. There we go. Oh, you little stinker. Okay, so that's what the front looks like. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna have to roll out on this camera in a second. Anyway, first what I want to do is I want to figure out where this piece is going to go so that I can get it hung on the front of this. And I'm not really debating on where I want it to go as far as location on the jar, but where I'm going to place it on the jar. And I think it's going to go on the lid. No, you know what? I think I'm going to put it right there. We need some E6000. And I think I want some fresh here. And I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to put a nice little dollop there and try not to make too much of a string. And then I'm going to take my piece here and I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue there so that it'll stay down while that E6000 is curing. So I'm just going to put that down and hold it for just a minute because I don't want it to go anywhere. So that's where that's going. And this is just gorgeous. I'm super excited that I got all of this great bling from Kiki's sale. When it came in yesterday, I can't tell you how excited, well, you guys know how excited I get about things. I'm easy to please, but oh my gosh. When I saw all of those great things that Debbie had sent me, I was over the moon excited. And I couldn't wait to start using everything in my projects. So it was like my birthday yesterday. Speaking of which, my birthday's this month, you guys. Guess how old I'm turning? Oh, I'm going to be 60 this month. The big 60. And I can't believe it. I'm just trying to get a piece of glue off the bottom of this. And it's not cooperating with me. Oh well. Oh. Got a little bit of the paint there, so I'm going to have to repaint that spot right there. Okay, I've got that. I was actually thinking, if you remember the beginning of this video, I was thinking about using a couple of these leaves, and I want to look at this real quick and see if maybe I do want to go for it and cut a couple of these off. I'm going to cut them and see what they will look like. And cut this one off. So I'm just taking 2 leaves, making sure I cut it in all the right places here. You guys, I'm super sorry about how long this video is. I hope you guys have stuck around to the end, and obviously you know that, if you don't have time, I know some of you will fast forward through portions of the video, and that's okay too. But it really is going to be gorgeous in the end. I'm not going to use these leaves. I think they cover up too much of it. But I am going to put this butterfly down here at the bottom. And I'm going to put a little piece of this around that stem as well. So I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put it right there. So I do want to get that on there. Make sure the right side is sticking up. And we're just going to go like that and very quickly get that on there. Come on. Gosh, I hate when I'm doing a video and I get those strings stuck all over my fingers, and it's one of those things when I see it in other people's videos, I go, oh, get that string off your hand. Because it's just annoying. And and more I do it for them than for me, because I know when I'm watching my videos and I see one of those doggone strings on my hand, and it just, I don't know, it just looks gross. And I try to not have that happen. But it's impossible to see them all, because sometimes they're like the invisible icks. Icks, is that a word? Yeah, I guess it is. And I'm going to put one more dot right there of that. And then I'm going to take my butterfly, and I want that to go right there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue just kind of across the back of the butterfly's wings, and I'm going to stick it right to that piece there. And that looks really, really cute. Now, if I really wanted to get fancy with this, I would put some, I moved it around too much and I knocked off my bling. If I really wanted to get fancy, I would take and put some diamond dust on this guy. But right now, I don't think I'm going to do that. However, it's possible that it may receive a coating of diamond dust before I put it in my Etsy shop. My next jar is absolutely getting diamond dust on it without fail. It's going to happen. So make sure you watch that video. My next one should be a little bit faster. I think I've kind of got this process a little bit more down now. And maybe I'll do a little bit better job of getting it done a little bit quicker. And the last piece that I'm going to put on this is a little bit of this pearl chain. And I'm doing that because I absolutely love this stuff. And I just want to make sure I get some in here somewhere. So I'm going to real quick put a little bit of it kind of going around these flowers. And that I can do very, very quickly. A little bit of glue on the pearl there. And I'm going to pop that down right in there. And this piece I'm going to take right over to here and Pop that down. Hold it in for a second. Get glue all over my hands. And I think I'm just going to kind of twist this around towards the back. There's a method to my madness here. Put a little bit of glue right there. And pop a couple of those little pearls down on that. So I like to make sure that I do some decoration towards the back of my pieces too. I don't like to leave the back looking unfinished when I do these kinds of things. So I like to try and make sure that I at least get a couple of little embellishments around to the back. And this I'm just gluing to the back of the little sign here. And look at me with the glue on my hands. It's awful. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this little bit of string off of there, and I'm just going to put this rose right in there, or this pearl right in this little hole right here. And my friends, that is going to do it for this piece. Oh, I am going to show you super quickly though. I'm going to put a light inside of it real quick and show you what that looks like, just in case you want to see it. But anyway, let me show you this finished first. I'm going to pan out my camera just a little bit because I want you to be able to see it real well. Making sure that you're not going to be looking at me. Okay, because I am in my jammies, you know. Okay, so let me move a couple of my things around. There you go, you guys. That is the finished jar. Let me lay it kind of on its side here. Isn't that gorgeous? It came out so pretty. Look at the lid. In fact, I'm going to turn that light off. Look at how pretty the lid came out. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love it. I love, love, love this piece. And I'm really glad I was able to do this video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. There we go, just kind of a sideways view. And it is completed all the way around. Let's show you with this kind of hanging forward there. Isn't that gorgeous? I am super proud of this piece, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this project. Let me throw this light in here real quick. I don't know what this is going to look like, so sometimes when you paint jars and stuff, sometimes the lights are not great unless you've Mod Podged the whole thing. But I'm just going to kind of trying to lay the lid on there just in such a way that you can kind of get the effect without messing up the rhinestones on it. Okay, let me turn off my lights in the kitchen here. There we go. Oh, it actually looks really pretty. So that is what it looks like with a light in it. It looks really, really pretty. I'm going to move this other light here so that I can actually put this in a spot where you can see it. So that's what it looks like with the light in it. Really pretty. It shines right down to the bottom section because I left the bottom of the jar unpainted, so the light shines right into the candlestick. So That's actually a really great idea, and I may actually sell this one with a light in it so that whoever, I'm not screwing this all the way down, you guys, right now because I'm trying to save it. Okay, so anyway, that's this piece for today. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and make a comment down below. I know it's a long video, and for that I do apologize, but hopefully you got something out of it and you learned something today, and hopefully you'll stick around for more videos because I'm going to be doing a lot of them. I'm going to be doing the jar that I'm going to be doing my next video on is, wait for it, this one. Oh my gosh, let me turn my light on so you can actually see it. So you can see the difference in size in these two jars. Well, sort of, kind of. Here's the sugar jar. And here's this jar. So it's a big candy jar. Again, I added the candlestick to the bottom of it. And this is, whoops, woo, this is my next one. I'm going to be using my special napkin. Not that one. Boy, I have got to clean up my workstation here before I start working again. I'm going to be using this napkin on this jar. And so please come back and watch this one, you guys. You're going to love it. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. This is going to be one of my favorite pieces, I know it, of all time. So please come back and watch that video. Again, thank you all for subscribing to my channel. If you're not subscribed, please, it would really help me out if you did hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and set up your properties there so that you will get notified when I put out new videos. And I will be seeing you all very soon with another video. Head on over to Kiki's Sale, check that out, see if you can join and become a member there. And everybody, take care, God bless, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.